This is kind of written for the hope that to relax people a little and get people to maybe laugh and enjoy themselves more and maybe just get through the day better. It's a comedy. It's in the vein of comedy. So, Chapter 1. Lord and Lady were sitting down to breakfast beside the parlor fireplace one early Monday morning. A bird of moist, genuine joy was chirping on a branch of misanthropic oak just outside the window, as Lord, hoisting his blue-slippered feet upon the erstwhile coffee table, said to Lady, "Nicholas got pretty drunk at last night's festivities, didn't he?" And Lady said, "He told me before he took the first sip of beer that the illustrious attorney, Ernie McCurney, that guy who just moved here from Jersey, told me he highly suspected that Creep and Buzzard had absconded off with his collection of taxidermy. Nicholas Macrabe, the cab-driving crab, had married Vespelia Vermontino in 1982. They had 37 children together, even though they were only married for 27 days. The custody battle gave each one of them 6 months apiece with the children, and their house went to the homophobic Hartford, Connecticut hog-farming harpsichordist, who had over 400 cats to take care of. Put this like this. The homophobic Hartford, Connecticut hog-farming harpsichordist had, just 2 months earlier, moved from New Jersey because Lord, his second cousin on the mother's side, had told him that his childhood best friend, Masagami Deuteronomy, was living now a mere and mighty stone's throw from Lord and Lady. Now, any everyday reader of these luxurious anthropologist notes might ask, at some point, how all these characters populating this story came to know one another. Well, the truth of the matter is that a very strange but friendsome upperclassman from Harvard University, who would go on to graduate without distinction, advised them that they should open up a cat museum somewhere. Eventually, they all graduated from Harvard, also without distinction. Now, the Octapuss Macrabe, a quite punctual, prudent, and aftershave permeating man of diligence and debonair leaning, came, as was earlier arranged, to visit Lord and Lady in order that they might hammer out the details of the catnip museum they were planning in the process of postulating. Lord, answering the front door to their castle-like homestead, saw immediately that the Octapuss Macrabe was wearing Vespelia Vermontino's Eskimo bean jacket. He was holding a bouquet of thornless roses in his hand as a gift for Lady. The Octapuss Macrabe, who had discontinued his self-employed job as a door-to-door sitz-bath salesman in Castle Rock, Maine, decided to up and move to the town where all his Harvard University fellow students were living the life of Riley. Really? Yes, really. The Octapuss Macrabe, swooping quite nimbly into Lord and Lady's quite ornamented castle, handed, oh so royally, Lady a fresh bouquet of store-bought roses. "We have," that new arrival just come into town with the newlywed wife. "You remember the Big Zipper?" "Of course I remember him. He stole all the golf clubs and baseball gloves from Normal Norman's treasure chest. Well, it just so happens that last month he married a starry-eyed dressmaker from Montreal named the Big Dipper, and the two of them are very interested in giving financial support to our catnip museum enterprise." "Does he have the cash flow?" Oh, definitely. He's the highest paid gynecologist in town. "What's his wife like?" asked Lady. She's allergic to zippers and buttons. So the big zipper took her to that nutcake neuropsychiatrist named Sutton. Sutton's the only gynecologist in town who doesn't make usage of zippers and buttons. He uses instead reinforced Scott tape to hold his clothes together. And thus, Chapter 1 comes to an end. Now the beginning of Chapter 2. The big zipper had a weakness for women who were swineherds, and 1/3 German, 1/3 Irish, and 1/3 Bostonian. The Big Dipper was all of these and much, much more. Not only that, she was born with lobster claws for hands, and her in-laws, the Big Zipper's parents, who studied law in Japan, Australia, and Ontario. The Big Zipper and his wife, the Big Dipper, making a purchase of camels and kangaroos for the purposes of breeding clamels and putting them to pasture on the clamel farm. The kangaroo, as the local etymologist named Phyllis Prudence Wildhorn had recently advised the Big Zipper that the kangaroo and the praying mantis he'd found out through deep study and all the varieties of science employed were actually distant relations. Sometimes events do not unfold. No, they don't. Sometimes they turn the other cheek to ones that put their lives to an old ruination. Sometimes they're cyclic, and sometimes they transmorph into human form and physically resemble vacuum cleaner door-to-door salesmen who converse with roosters and hens. And that's as far as I got in Chapter 2. I will be back sometime today to bring you more of the tales from the vaults of the Octapuss Macrabe. And I am deeply worried about my negativity sometimes in the middle of the day. That I will no longer present to the reading, seeing, or the public. I will just try to be in a positive turn. And I hope that this comedy will prevent maybe looting, that maybe somebody will decide to do good. I don't know, but comedy always relieves the tension of disastrous things. It's comedy comes when we're in a lot of pressure and stuff. Then we use comedy to relax with. God bless everyone, and may everyone have a great day.